My name is Dwayne Hill. I'm from Harpersfield, New York, a partner in Shaver Hill Maple. One of my stories is this is a picture of my father, my brother, and myself in our old sap house. And in 1980, we had one of the best years of making syrup ever. We had one evaporator, and we had to run that evaporator 15 days and nights, 24 hours a day, and still milk 60 cows twice a day in between.
My name is Don Russell, and the picture I'm holding shows our sugar house. Maybe this picture is even a little older than my first memories. It shows my dad and a neighbor who had passed away before I can remember. But I remember the old wood-fired evaporator that we had in the early days. And as a kid, loved to go down, and we had a special hot dog roaster that we could put in where the hot coals would drop down into the ash pit, and they were some of the best hot dogs, roasting them down in that over that ash pit. Made great hot dogs. And I can remember as a kid having to help with the firewood, and my grandfather, he would look at us boys, we were just little sprouts, and he'd say, yeah, they can handle that piece of wood and send it. And the piece of wood was bigger than we were.
I'm Nate Shattuck from Shattuck Sugar House, Belchertown, Massachusetts, sharing my first sugary memory of being 4 years old, having a little bit of sap out of the tap. Since then, my family started the year I was born, and over 47 years later, we've got a dealership and sizable sugary operation. So it's been quite a lot of growth and exciting stuff. But this is me at 4 years old.
My name is Andy Humphrey. This is one of my earliest sugar memories. What this is when I was cooking syrup in the house on the stove, wallpaper started to peel off, and my mother kicked me out. So we started to cook it outside in a turkey fryer. This is probably 10 years old in this picture. My folks thought I'd only be interested in this for 2 weeks. I'd be sick of it in 2 weeks and be all said and done. But we've gone from this to cooking for about 15,000 caps. We have a dealership in a pretty good region, good customer base. And then I was joining with my wife, who's over here. Joined my wife when she started helping me out when I was 16 in the woods. Coaxed her out to come out there. I told her I needed help in the woods. She just thought we wanted to date. And coaxed her to move buckets around. So we moved buckets around woods all night long. And she stayed a couple more years and got married right out of high school. We're still married 8-9 years later. So it's been good. It's been fun.
In 1985, our first sugar house. This is the very first sugary area in 1975. And this is me looking out the window at 5 years old.
My dad started making maple syrup in 1967 with just a single tap. One tap, one tree, boiled on in his mother's stove in the kitchen. The second year, he got kicked out of the kitchen after the wallpaper peeled off the walls from all of the steam. He got kicked down to the basement. This is a picture of his third sugar house when he got kicked out to the shop and was finishing syrup in our shop. We're now in our fifth sugar house, and this one we're going to be in here for a while. We like this one a lot.
I do not remember buckets. We went to tubing in 1959, the year I was born. We started installing tubing. So by the time I was big enough to remember anything or do anything, our whole system was in tubing.
And this is our first evaporator. And of course, collecting sap the old school way with metal buckets and metal gathering pails. That's me at 4 years old. And these are the old school ways in Massachusetts where we don't have hills. And it was a neighborhood ordeal.
The picture that Meg is holding shows my grandfather, my dad, myself, 3 generations. Actually, Meg would be in the 5th generation. My son Adam, Meg's father is buying the operation at this point. And my grandfather bought the farm in 1918 from his father-in-law. The farm that my grandfather grew up on is right nearby, Maple Farm as well. And that traces it back through the Russell family, another 7 generations. So Maple's been in the Russell family for a lot of years.
I'm Ruben Sombro from Sombro Maple Farm in southern New Hampshire. My brother and I started sugaring in 2008. I was 12 and my brother was 14. And it was my uncle next door that had he was boiling on propane, and we thought it was cool, and we're like, yeah, I want to do it. My dad's like, no, don't want to do it because it's so much work. Everybody starts and then they get bigger, ends up with a sugar house, and so he had to show us what a maple tree even looked like, and we started tapping, and yeah, we got hooked on it, and I really like it. It runs in my blood, and so we just kind of cobbled something together for a shelter, and just had to open pans over open fire, and made a little bit of syrup. Actually, we didn't quite make syrup that year because we had so little bit that if we were to boil it down to actually right density, we wouldn't add much. So we're like, yeah, that's good enough. That's sweet enough. That's good. So we actually didn't make syrup. And this is me with my eldest son. So this is about my favorite picture right here.